Hello, welcome back to Freedom of Speechless. We are so excited today because we have what this is all about here, Angelo, with us. I'll introduce myself. I'll let everybody introduce themselves. I'm Katie Custer. I am owner of Mind Over Body and a practitioner for spelling to communicate at Mind Over Body in Aurora, Ohio.
I'm Melody Rabora. I am the president of Angelo's Angels for Communication Foundation, and you can find us at angelosangels.com.
What? Right here.
I am Angelo, Rabora, non-speaking smeller who holds no bars. I am also the founder of MOM.
And you can find us at...
RFK is a friend, not a foe.
Sorry, it's coming. That's too far. We're going too far. All right. We can find us at mobstrong.com and get more of Angelo's story. So we are super excited today because we have a message. So we kind of jumped into last week's current events with RFK and his view on where autism is and where autism's going. And then Angelo had a message for us. So today we thought it would be really special to feature the message that Angelo had about RFK and how he presented to the health community on this subject. And the way I saw this was Angelo put this out on Facebook already. So some of us might have seen it already, but I just felt it was really important that we featured it, that we got Angelo on here so that you could all see who is the absolute creator and founder of what is happening here in Ohio for Freedom of the Speechless. So with that being said, just to kind of go backwards a little bit, a few weeks ago, we talked about mitochondrial health. It led into, without us knowing, RFK talking about mitochondrial health and bringing some prevention to some of the things that are non-speaking autistic individuals and apraxic individuals and other diagnoses alike are facing and having to deal with. And he's trying to cut them off at the root. So with that, a lot of people came after him and dismissed that whole message to fine tune and pick out just a few words that maybe they didn't like that he had to say. We know that there's a lot to encompass this demographic, and we also know that there's a lot to encompass this subject. So we felt that it'd be really important to get this message out. So with that being said, I know you'd rather hear from Angelo than me today. This is we did have this pre-typed in. He did pre-type this in, but he will get on those letterboards for you. We'll ask him some questions live for you. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and have it be read, and then we'll read it again so that you can hear it.
RFK is a friend, not a foe. The enemy is disease and death caused by ignorance. Coming to terms with the exposure of truth is a personal choice. Not everyone is accountable for spreading disease, but those who ignore the data are liable for those who are sick and dying. The truth has been spoken. Civil justice is required and protection of the World Health Organization must end. CDC and NIH, let my people go. My God of heaven and earth, my God of all of creation has spoken. My God of truth is delivering us from the hands of evil. Forgiveness is for those who repent and turn away from their evil ways. God is asking for repentance of greed, cover up, and live sacrificed for the love of money and power. I will not be shamed. I will not be silenced.
Awesome. So that's big. And that needed to be heard.
I know.
So let's break that down a tiny bit. And, we're dealing with a friend, not a foe. That's awesome. Right there. No matter what, Angelo expressed to us a few years ago, if we say something wrong or approach him wrong or, bring things out of context because we're still learning, he was like, I forgive. I mean, as long as you're trying.
Yes.
I love you for trying.
Yes.
And so that right there says that all. RFK is a friend, not a foe. He is trying. And he's doing whatever he can. And generations have changed to where words these days, if I said you were wearing tie-dye, I might be wrong right now. Tie-dye might be some sort of you know, hey, if you want to jump on and hold that in front of him while I talk, and if he does not like to hold back his words, he is ready. And so, you know, we are always being so careful. And one of the things we started with Angelo was he said, I am a non-speaking speller that holds no bars. So we looked up what hold no bars means. Like, okay, well, I was thinking freedom of speech. You're out of that cage that you feel like you've been locked into for so many years, and you're able to express. Yeah, it's something like that, right? But it truthfully meant.
Don't mind me,
Yes. Keep going. It truthfully meant that he's coming with no bars, no restraints. He's not holding back. This is a man that has lots to say, a lot inside of his very intelligent, bilingual brain, and he wants to get it out. And so, as you see, there's only going to be so much time that we can get words out on a letterboard or keyboard as he's fine-tuning these skills. And so when he's coming at us, if it seems a little aggressive, I say that's bold because he's not holding back. He knows there's just a few opportunities to get out what he wants the world to hear, what he knows is important. He has a purpose here on this life to bring truth for the non-speaking community. And God gave him an amazing gift. Number one, of being a very hard worker. This guy right here, working hard. This mom right here, working hard on these boards, working on this skill, getting the ball in the mitt, poking, you know, each letter until we can add spin on it. Then we add spin on it, which is moving up to the laminate board. Then we get some accuracy with spin, and we add another skill with speed, and that's going to be our keyboard. And eventually we'll be able to have a keyboard floating for him, and he'll be able to be doing that independently, completely, if you don't feel this isn't independent enough, because some people are at that place. But
Get your eyes on it.
so this is exciting, and I'm going to just mention a few things that I feel, as we touched base on the genetics and DNA of autism, were really important that we kind of went back with. You know, we're not speaking of disease. Again, we are not medical doctors. We are moms. We are, I'm a practitioner for Spelling to Communicate, so I work with multiple profiles, working with motor profiles, understanding firsthand elements that come our way. My children both had pans and pandas, so things that are just not necessarily out there, right? And so we've got lots of wonderful medical assistance that we can bring some light to, and find the right people that are speaking our language here on the mitochondrial level, and not just giving some pharmaceutical solution, right? So we're not talking about disease right now. We're going to talk about dysfunction and mitochondrial dysfunction. I want to make that clear after the last few podcasts that we're not talking about disease. Dysfunction may cause disease, but the dysfunction is where it starts. So, you know, the dysfunction is going to come when we are adding toxins or environmental things to our body. And that can happen through two avenues, one being genetic and one being biochemical. So we talked a little bit about the genetic last week, just being a frail mom giving frail genes to her son, who then has the frail system that may not inhabit the next toxin that comes his way, that maybe the last generation was able to do. So that's where our genetics weaken in our gene pool. In order to not handle the biochemical atmospheric solutions that come our way. And our body is no longer able to discard those and add good at the same time, because we're so busy cleaning out our system that it can't really pull in anything good. and hold on to anything good for that matter. So that's really genetic mutation. That's what we're dealing with here. And I do believe that that's not something that can be healed overnight. And I don't believe it can be healed with one generation, which is, I think, why we have an uproar.
Yeah.
People are like, well, how dare you say this is preventable? No, not tomorrow. You cannot go to a mom today and say, let's prevent this way. You as a mom did it wrong. That's not what we're saying. That is not what happened. Absolutely not. No moms did it wrong. No moms. We all do our best. And if you don't feel that way, please find support. We're here to help you. We're here to support you for that. Okay. Because we understand that. So, it's not about that. It's about what we didn't know we were exposed to and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead. Let's hear from Angelo. I'll keep talking afterwards.
Hurry up.
Sorry, guys.
Come on.
Don't mind me, I am fired up to have this platform to share truth for my community of unheard people. We have been silenced and covered up for too many decades.
Okay. We don't mind you at all, Ange. I'm going to read what he said so that we have it in the mic. Or actually, Mom, why don't you read his quote? You probably have it on there too from RFK.
You want me
there
to
you go. I want you to read it loud in your mic so that everybody can hear it clearly. And then read the next thing he said so that everything.
For sure. Yeah. So the post that he posted on Facebook that we're sharing right now, which is kind of why we're following up with this podcast, is RFK is a friend, not a foe. The enemy is disease and death caused by ignorance. Coming to terms with the exposure of truth is a personal choice. Not everyone is accountable for spreading disease, but those who ignore the data are liable for those who are sick and dying. The truth has been spoken, civil justice is required, and protection of the World Health Organization must end. CDC and NIH, let my people go. My God of heaven and earth, my God of all creation has spoken. My God of truth is delivering us from the hands of evil. Forgiveness is for those who repent and turn away from their evil ways. God is asking for repentance of greed, cover-up, and lives sacrificed for the love of money and power. I will not be shamed. I will not be silenced. And then as we were talking, he was typing and he said, don't mind me. I'm fired up to have this platform to share truth for my community of unheard people. We've been silenced and covered up for too many decades.
Yeah. So I think it's important that we know, how can we help these frail bodies starting with today for the next decade. That's it. It's really what we're looking at, aren't we, Ange?
Yeah.
Ange, I'd like you to add whatever you'd like to this conversation here. But you said here that the truth has been spoken, civil justice is required, and protection of the World Health Organization must end. Do you want to elaborate on that? Yeah. Unbar it, baby. Unbar it. Right? So
I'll move that out of the way. There we go.
As he is typing, I'm going to give you a few little things on what mitochondria dysfunction looks like. What can we look for? What are we looking for?
Sure.
Are we running to doctors and letting diagnosis come? Now, I'm not saying not to do that. I'm not saying not to get a diagnosis. But what I am saying is that we might just have a mitochondrial need for a boost. And instead, we're looking for the next medication that will cause another side effect for our guys. Because don't forget, when we have a sensitive body, then we're dealing with sensitive systems. So therefore, we're going to have these issues. Being tired all the time, headaches, seizures or seizure activity, no focus, itchy skin, heart palpitations, anxiety, ADHD, any spectrum insecurities as far as sensitive to light, sound, or noise.
Mm-hmm.
Body temperature dysregulation.
That's my guy right here. He's always sweating to death.
Mm.
It could be winter and he's got shorts and a t-shirt on in January.
Yep.
And he's fine. If you put a North Face coat, and you put a North Face coat on him, you put him in the car and you put the heat on, he's sweating. He's done.
That's it.
He wears a flannel all winter long. Mm-hmm.
So some of the things that we found to counter that, and we talked a little bit about that in the last podcast too, was movement. You know, you guys get on, like, subscribe, share. People need to see this happening right here. You know, I'm going to turn this for just a minute so you can see him typing actively, so that you can see this is coming from Angelo, present day, present live right now. Share this with people. Number one, share this with people that have a non-speaking individual. Every non-speaker.
Keep coming.
Every non-speaker.
God
Okay.
is truth, and that is what I mean.
Sorry, Ange.
One of the reasons we got to see the but you know, somebody asked me today, how do we know if they can do this? Well, we don't know until we try.
Mm-hmm.
So don't presume that don't presume that we're looking at the disability here, but instead we're looking on how to enhance the ability here. So it might take time, it might take training, and it might actually not look like what we're expecting it to look like in the very beginning. But some of those things that we're looking at when we are actually boosting the mitochondrial is just having enough energy to get up and get to that next task. Initiate past a task. Not have the inflammation so on fire, which is your brain to body firing system. And that's kind of that brain on fire where, you know, you get nervous and you calm, then you calm down, and then you're really low. And then you're like really excited, and then you're really low. And you just can't get that brain to get a hold of itself. You know, I call that brain on fire. It's just going in this circle of fire. Circle of fire. There's a book actually called Brain on Fire that's really wonderful. It's an old book, but it definitely it explains all of that for sure. So we talked about that. Let's talk about some things now. Like I said, diet, movement. He's going into the pool every day when we have the right weather here. How is this helping? Well, first of all, it's recreating mitochondrial biogenesis. Mitochondrial biogenesis is when your muscle sees that it needs more energy so that it actually will make more energy for the next time. So now you are actually making new mitochondrial and giving your body an opportunity to regenerate, have more movement, regenerate, have more movement, and you've switched that cycle. You're no longer in your own brain cycle, but you're pushing past that. And even if it's only 2 more minutes a day or 3 more minutes a day and then 4 more minutes a day, find yourself into a new movement, a new activity. That's really important. So go ahead, Ange.
God is truth, and that is what I mean by truth has been spoken. I am tired of cover up of not acknowledging trends and data.
Okay, and I'll reread that.
Okay.
God is truth, and that is what I mean by truth has been spoken. I am tired of government cover-up of not acknowledging trends and data.
Okay. Well said. What do you know about mitochondrial biogenesis? What has that done for you in your life?
I think. Okay. I'm just going to do a letterboard. It's a little bit easier.
We're going to do a podcast coming up on spelling to communicate to explain the different hierarchies of what you're seeing between a letterboard versus a keyboard, different fine versus gross motor skills, how we train the hierarchy, the different scales we use to make sure that we're using the Bloom's and the Maslow, and different things like that. We'll be doing some of those practitioner podcasts coming up soon, actually, one on spelling to communicate and one on motor coaching, which spelling to communicate can only happen with proper motor coaching. So I really feel like that is the foundation of what we're dealing with here, is addressing the motor system at its absolute finest or grossest, whichever one you want to say. We need a t-shirt. Okay.
Right. So he's got a little bit more to say, but he started by saying, I have been limited by mitochondrial dysfunction. Okay. Come on. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
All the time.
Mm-hmm. Get, look. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All the time.
Mm-hmm. And look. And look. Mm-hmm. 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 Keep looking. You got it. Look. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He said he gets exhausted even by mild amounts of physical activity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not forget that plays a really big part in how we handle situations in our own daily life. And then we are expecting so much motor demand and motor task on a body that is drained from the very little bit of mitochondrial energy that they have been allowed to produce due to multiple factors that we're not going to touch on today. But just the realization behind, if we don't cut out the toxins, if we don't allow the health field to go in and bring us natural solutions that are removing these toxic chemicals from our environment, then we are going to only be going backwards,
Yeah. He went back to what he said. He said overheating is a problem for him, and inflammation in his body. And, he's just, it kind of, I'm going to elaborate on it a little bit, Angelo, because I live with you all my life. When you are, think about when you're like running a marathon, right? Like I'm going to give you the visual.
Yeah. I forgot to give the visual today. Here's the visual, everybody. Close your eyes, run the marathon. Look, she's already in it. Take off your sweater. Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, but the visual is just you are deciding that you want to run a marathon, and you have to condition your body for that. And in order to be able to do that, you have to give your body all the right things for it to be able to do that. And if any one thing is wrong with your body, or let's say you didn't tie your shoe tight enough and halfway through the marathon, your ankle hurts because you didn't secure that shoe tight enough. Okay. So you have that piece, right?
Some shoes fall all the way off.
All the way off, man.
Look.
All the way off. But overheating, if you're jogging, if you're exercising, if you're too hot, if you're if you're at a level of so much uncomfort, you're going to stop and take a break.
Right.
So the level of energy that Angelo is able to expel before he gets overheated or feels pain in his body is difficult. So he's saying he could walk on a treadmill for 10 minutes. He's done. So to be able to control the weight gain, to be able to control the overheating, that's why we really started a lifestyle change of introducing anti-inflammatory foods into our diet. And
follow that. That's on Facebook. It's going to be on Angelo's
Angels for Communication Facebook page. I'm logging every day.
Make sure you follow that. That is really important. It's a good support piece for other moms
and
families. Period. Moms, dads, don't matter.
And I want to address, and I know that I'm allowed to do this. I didn't ask you beforehand, but I know I'm allowed to do this in the talking about it on Facebook. But Angelo also has food aversions, and that is a clinical eating disorder where different textures and different tastes and different foods, their body just will not allow them to eat it. So there's that obstacle too that I've been sharing about. And I know that that's a huge issue in the autism community of not being able to eat their child not being able to eat a variety of foods. So that's why they continue to eat the foods that, I don't want to be harsh, but are making your children sick. And that's not like, I get it. I was there. I get it.
We all do.
So it's not like you keep feeding your kids food that are making you sick. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I understand why you keep going down that
and it's
path.
a fine line, because then you feel like if you don't,
I'm starving my kid.
You got it. Then you're making them sick.
Right.
And so we get it. We get it.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. But that's why it's so good to just have a little support and to know that, guess what? One of those days you might fall off the wagon, and you're going to journal that. And then somebody's going to see, oh, it's okay. She did it. I can do it too. Because look how well Angelo's doing, and look how well they're doing. And, you know, we are going to be featuring coming up soon a podcast with, I think, how many do we have? 6 seasoned moms that have open spellers from all over the United States here. And we'll Zoom them in. And we are, this will be our support freedom of speechless panel that we're introducing to you. And then this one will be about an hour, if not a little bit longer, because we're going to touch on multiple family dynamics, multiple spellers, multiple non-speaking, multiple motor profiles, multiple wellness profiles. We have families with 2 non-speakers, families with 1 child, families with multiple children. So it's really, I think, just going to be great. And they're all just godly women that love to uplift, edify, inspire, share their story from a very humble standpoint. Like, you know, we're not on a pedestal. We're not, you know, this wasn't always easy, but we can do this and we can do it together. And if you need help, we're here.
Yeah.
And
these
really
women
good.
are my personal support network.
Yes.
Like, they're from all over the United States of America.
So we're going to share they are.
Yeah. That's really good. Angelo just said killer inflammatory issues with toxic foods. So, you know, just reinforcing what I'm saying. It just is what it is. He knows what his, lack of better term, issues are. We kind of know what we have to try to really pray against and fight and stuff. And even if you find me personally on Facebook, I will 100% answer back if you're, having issues or whatever, if I could help. And if I don't have the answers, I'll do my best to find out and get that back to you for sure. 100%.
So before we leave the food bank here, what I really love, Josh said the other day, they went to Yours Truly and he got to pick out on the letterboard what he wanted. And so that was a big deal. And he put nacho fries. And so I connected with him on Monday, said, hey, how was your dinner? I heard you got some nacho fries. He said, nacho fries hurt my stomach. So here I'm thinking he's about to be like, oh, nacho fries are amazing. Right. We're about to connect on the sour cream thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't give enough. They don't spread it out with a knife, none of that. And he says, they hurt my stomach. And I'm like, oh, gosh, well, do you want to not eat them anymore? I mean, was that not a choice you wanted to make on the letterboard? And he said, oh, no, I want nacho fries.
Right.
It wouldn't be Yours Truly without getting nacho fries.
Oh, without a doubt.
So I asked him,
without a doubt.
So does that mean you still want nacho fries even though they hurt your stomach? He said, yes, without a doubt. They're the best thing on the menu.
Oh, yeah.
And again, there's choices. We're not just depriving everybody of everything. But the truth is they hurt his stomach. And so if we're going to do that, we have to be prepared for a hurt stomach. Yeah. So, it's good to be able to know. And sometimes we don't know. And we just have to make those decisions.
Right.
But
Angelo,
what we do know.
What is your favorite, what does your body love? What do you love to eat? What do you and Katie have in common?
Oh, gosh. I know. Oh, we didn't narrow it down. We did not narrow it down.
He just said all of it.
I thought he was going with chocolate, but he went all the way. He went all the way. It's so look, we both just did the same thing.
Angelo
not this.
Angelo, Aurora, and Candy.
Here we go. You gotta love these technology.
I love it. Well, you got to, because now he's got a voice.
Candy.
Okay.
Candy. That's it.
You told me not. You told me not to give it to you, and why did you tell me not to give it to you? What do you say that Candy? What's the? How do I say this? What do you say Candy is to you? What do you call yourself? Come on. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Oh
Keep
yeah,
going. Mm-hmm.
I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
it's bad. I'm with you 100%.
Candy crackhead.
So the reason why he says this is because he will sit there and eat the entire bag, 2-pound bag of M&Ms. The entire, he does not do that with any other food. So I know a lot of autistic individuals have an issue with inhibition when it comes to eating. He's not that.
Right.
But if you put candy in front of him, he'll eat it all.
Yeah.
And he says it's like a drug to me.
Yeah.
I'm like a crackhead. Don't give it to me. Get it out of the house. I can't control myself around.
My husband said. My husband said to me the other night. He goes, "Where are all the sweets in this house?"
Like,
I go, "Babe, I don't do sugar because it's like I'm an addict. You know that." And he goes, and I go, "And by the way, if we did have sweets in the house, we wouldn't have sweets in the house because I'm an addict and I would have ate them."
Yeah.
So,
and he tells
if you
me,
do, you better hide them.
He's like, I get so sick in my gut and get major brain fog after I do that.
Right.
It takes me so long to bounce back. So I am just reinforcing. I'm just confirming, Josh saying that.
Absolutely. So, we're going to end. I would like a closing statement from Angelo, if we can get one while I finish up talking here. We're going to pull it away from food really quick. One of the things I found floating around my daughter's body who cannot handle, she has autoimmune issues. This means that your body is going to become inflamed. Your body has auto responses to help the inflammation process in your body to fight that. And when your body starts to overfight for itself, it becomes auto to the immune system and starts attacking itself. Okay, so that's what the autoimmune, cycle is. And when you have that, and you have a pesticide or a food that you're exposed to, or a toxin that you're exposed to, and your body's looking for it everywhere, and it's just going crazy, it's bouncing all over the place, it doesn't always target the right places. And so that's where it's really important to start eliminating as much as we can in those areas. So one of the things that they found in her testings was the glycotamine. I'm not going to be able to say it right now, but it's what's in Roundup. It's literally,
I can't remember either.
It's the chemical in Roundup.
But we all know. I mean, it's all over.
Yeah, I'm going to say it wrong, but it's a glycola, whatever. Somebody type it in the comments. Get active for me over there. So why? How did she have so much of that chemical in her system? That's a pesticide. What is the government doing? What are we allowing into our systems without us even knowing? Oh, it's not the government, it's you. You went to Home Depot, you bought the pesticide, now you're putting it on, then you're blaming that for Why is that available to us? Do you know that in the lab, the laboratory that is focusing on mitochondrial health uses different pesticides and insecticides to kill the mitochondria, literally to kill it in the test tube. Yet we're killing weeds with it because we want our yards beautiful and we're not worried about the health of our kids.
Can't believe it.
So we got food, we got pesticides, insecticides, we have stress. Eliminate the stress, relax. We cannot control everything. You know what I'm saying?
I know. They said I'm not.
So we just can't. And, that's one thing that Angelo's helped us see, right? Is that, God's in control. So stop trying to control things. Go back to the drawing board with our Savior and our Lord and see what he has brought to the table. So go into that registry. Who's been outside with their shoes off lately? It's beautiful out over here. So I'm hoping it's beautiful where you live, because I'm assuming we live in the coldest climate, but probably not. I don't know.
Right.
Type it in the comments if you're colder than Ohio. Okay.
Yeah.
And let us know what you want to hear about next. Let us know questions that you want Angelo to answer. Again, subscribe, like, and share, because it's important to Angelo.
Yep.
It's important to Josh. This is not for us. It's not for our benefit. This is for the community that cannot speak. It's your responsibility to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that share to get their voice heard.
Right.
So don't take that lightly. Josh said to me one time that the divine purposes of God are not to be taken lightly. And I believe that that is a divine purpose of God. So don't take it lightly. Instead, like it and share it.
Right.
Okay, let's hear from Ange.
Let's make sure I got it.
Okay.
There we go.
Keep following our mission.
That's it. Keep following our mission. On that note, God bless. Have a great week, and we'll see you again.
God bless.